Gunung Sinabung marding di. Turai-turai na pagay magarsin. Sing uda-uda simbrawisa na perana datas pantar. Wayah-wayah di nasorana. Wayah ni nasorana. Sorana perana sing uda-uda merawisa. Deleng Sinabung bawa ke tanah. Ture-turena Deleng Sinabung. Kapayana golar tomatna go terberita bemurawisa waya he nina sorana waya he sorana waya he sorana waya turara sorana.
Pada umumnya kami masyarakat di daerah pegunungan di Tanah Karo ini di bawah tahun 2010 itu kami tidak mengenal apa itu istilahnya erupsi, bagaimana bahayanya kalau suatu gunung itu mengeluarkan debu atau lahar atau semacamnya lah, material-material yang dilontarkan. Makanya ada kecenderungan dari masyarakat Karo itu semakin dekat ke gunung untuk bercocok tanam itu semakin baik.
Deleng means mountain in the Karo language. Mount Sinabung, for the people living around it, really means a lot because they feel the blessings of its presence. Sinabung is located in the district of Karo in North Sumatra. The capital city of the district in which the volcano is found is Kabanjahe. In this area, one can sense that Mount Sinabung affects the life of the community.
Deleng kami hormat makabanti datas cibalkan belo segi gelap pe yang ku terang dah danau samusirah pe.
Waktu bibi ini dulu masih muda-muda, jadi mereka ini mau naik gunung mau apa, kalau kita beranjak ke Gunung Sinabung itu katanya harus dalam keadaan sopan, nah, itu katanya. Jadi sampainya pun di atas kita harus minta petunjuk kepada penghuni gunung. Ibaratnya sampai di atas terjadilah kabut. Nah, tapi kalau kita sopan dan minta sama penghuni, walau dengan selembar daun sirih atau sebatang rokok katanya, dengan ikhlas kita meminta, kabut yang begitu tebal bisa langsung nampak terang dan bisa melihat sampai ke Danau Toba sana katanya.
Segi napung lebih makabayak nina.
Memang Gunung Sinabung gunung yang muda katanya kalau menurut sejarah yang ini dengar. Tapi dianya suka menabung. Nah, jadi itulah maka terjadi perkawinan antara Gunung Sinabung dengan Gunung Sebaya. Nah, jadi setelah mereka berumah tangga katanya, maka terjadilah Gunung Sebaya itu apalah namanya perempuan. Nah, kan dia yang sebagai bendahara. Nah, itulah maka terjadi silsilah atau penggelaran dia sama dia itu Sibayak. Nah, jadi kalau Sibayak di Karo ini kan namanya orang kaya. Itulah kata ini tadi.
The communities who have long coexisted with Sinabung have a variety of stories and songs related to the mountain. However, from the research data that have been analysed, geologists also have information about the history of the formation of Mount Sinabung.
Kita sekarang sedang berada di Desa Sukandewi di Kabupaten Karo dengan latar belakang Gunung Api Sinabung yang sedang aktif. Jadi Gunung Api Sinabung ini tidak pernah terekam aktivitasnya sejak tahun 1600. Jadi kita klasifikasikan sebagai Gunung Api TPB. Tapi semenjak bulan Agustus tahun 2010, gunung api ini meletus yang mengagetkan masyarakat di sekitar Kabupaten Karo, sehingga gunung api ini kita sebut naik kelas atau kita sebut sekarang dia sebagai gunung api tipe A. Berdasarkan sejarah pembentukannya, gunung api Sinabung ini diawali oleh masa pra-Sinabung.
Mount Sinabung is a stratovolcano, or a layered volcano, with each eruption alternating between lava flows and pyroclastic flows. As a volcano, it is solitary, meaning it has a single peak. At its top, it has 4 craters.
Gunung api Sinabung ini diawali oleh masa pra-Sinabung, yaitu dengan ditandai oleh adanya endapan Toba atau kita sebut Toba Taf atau tufa Toba yang berumur sekitar 75.000 tahun yang lalu. Dan juga ada endapan batu gamping yang dapat kita jumpai di daerah barat daripada Gunung Api Sinabung, yaitu di sekitar Desa Susuk. Gunung Api Sinabung ini produknya berupa persalingan antara aliran lava dan aliran pyroclastic atau yang biasa kita sebut dengan awan panas. Awan panas atau mungkin di daerah Merapi terkenal dengan sebutan wedis gembelnya itu. Kalau di sini orang karena mereka terkejut dengan aktivitas Sinabung yang tiba-tiba meletus, jadi sebagian besar masyarakat belum mengenal istilah wedis gembel tersebut.
Geologists have conducted a series of studies relating to Sinabung. Data on the outcrops were collected and studied, so the geologists have learnt about the distribution, types, and the origins of the material. In addition, from this research by geologists, we can know about the character of the volcano, and this can be a very useful guide for the wider community.
Ini adalah satuan awan panas yang tersingkap di Desa Mardinding yang terletak di sebelah barat Gunung Sinabung. Awan panas itu adalah kumpulan batuan berbagai ukuran dan gas yang karena mempunyai densitas yang tinggi bergerak turun dari lereng dengan kecepatan yang sangat tinggi dan juga mempunyai suhu yang sangat tinggi, berkisar dari 150 derajat sampai 300 derajat Celcius. Jadi aliran awan panas terakhir berdasarkan dating yang kita lakukan pada charcoal yang terdapat di awan panas di sekitar arah timur atau tenggara dari Gunung Api Sinabung. Terus kita melakukan dating dengan karbon 14, umurnya berkisar sekitar 1100 tahun yang lalu. Itu dengan jarak luncuran awan panas sepanjang 4 sampai 4,5 km dari puncak Gunung Sinabung. Sejak letusan bulan Agustus tahun 2010, kenampakannya Gunung Api Sinabung ini arah luncuran awan panasnya mengarah ke tenggara dan ke selatan. Jadi sampai saat ini masih belum terdapat perubahan arah yang signifikan. Tetapi tentu kita perlu mewaspadai arah sebelah timur dan utara juga, karena memang di sekitar daerah Laukawar atau di sebelah utara Gunung Api Sinabung ini telah muncul pusat erupsi baru. Jadi itu yang hal yang perlu diwaspadai.
Indonesia has 129 active volcanoes. In an effort to reduce the hazards caused by eruptions, observations of volcanoes must be made. The government, through its Centre for Volcanology and Geological Hazard Mitigation, has built watchtowers on some active volcanoes around Indonesia. One such observation post is located in the village of Ndokum Siroga. Observation post staff are tasked with observing volcanic activity visually and also using measurement data. When a volcano erupts, there are volcanic activities such as seismic tremors, vibrations and small earthquakes that are usually felt by people who are close to the volcano. This seismicity increases due to the increased activity and pressure in the magma chamber. This increase causes the cracks that are a source of volcanic earthquakes. Seismic observations can be conducted starting with the installation of seismometers around the volcano that is being monitored. For more accurate observations, more than one seismometer must be installed on each volcano. Photographs are taken to obtain visual data. These data are then analysed to note the changes that occur in the volcano, for example, at the crater. Observations of the volcano are also conducted by measuring the changes in slopes. These data are obtained from tilt meters that are mounted on Sukanalu and Lau Kawa. The vicinity of the volcano is usually a source of hot water. The hot springs are an evident feature of the volcano.
Saat ini saya sedang melakukan pengukuran suhu mata air panas di Desa Payung, Kecamatan Payung. Pengukuran suhu mata air panas ini bertujuan untuk mengetahui sampai sejauh mana perubahan temperatur daripada mata air panas tersebut.
At night, or in foggy weather, visual observations are conducted with a thermal camera in order to obtain data. The camera is capable of recording streams of lava and hot clouds spreading in conditions where there is no light. Each time there is an eruption, the observation staff directly provide information to the media center using single sideband radio. Every 6 hours, the observers also provide reports via email. From the media center, this information is disseminated through the disaster response network, for example, to the people living in evacuee camps. Dissemination of information is also assisted by public media, such as television. Information coming from the Centre for Volcanology and Geological Hazard Mitigation is based on the data that have been collected and analysed. The Centre for Volcanology and Geological Hazard Mitigation collects and evaluates the data to determine the status of all volcanoes around Indonesia in terms of the level of current activity. There are 4 status levels of volcanic activity, from the lowest to the highest, namely level 1 or normal. This normal level means there are no symptoms of magmatic pressure and there is a basic activity level. Level 2 is termed advisory. This level means there is an increase in activity, namely an increase in seismic activity and other volcanic events. There are slight changes in activity caused by magmatic, tectonic and hydrothermal activity. Level 3 is termed watch. This level means there are indications that the volcano is moving towards an eruption or disaster. it means that there is an intensive increase in seismic activity. All data indicate that the activity can escalate to an eruption or to circumstances that can lead to a disaster. If the trend of increasing activity continues, an eruption could occur within 2 weeks. Level 4 is termed warning. This level indicates that the volcano is about to or is already erupting, or there is a critical situation that poses the threat of disaster. The initial stage of the eruption starts with ash and smoke. The eruption is likely to occur within 24 hours. The vulnerability to disaster on the Sinabung volcano is depicted in a map of the disaster-prone zones, which are divided into 3 levels of vulnerability, from the highest to the lowest level. The highest level is the disaster-prone zone 3. This is the zone that is potentially stricken by hot clouds, lava flows, hurling incandescent rocks, lava, heavy ash rain, and toxic gas. Disaster-prone zone 2 is the area that is potentially stricken by hot clouds, lava flows, rock avalanches and bursts of incandescent rocks, heavy ash rain, mud rain, and toxic gases. Disaster-prone zone 1 is the area that is potentially stricken by lava. If the eruption grows bigger, then this area is potentially affected by ash rain and hurling incandescent rocks. With the disaster-prone zones map, the community gains knowledge of the areas that are safe from the dangers of eruption. The tourists can also enjoy the natural beauty and visit the safe tourist sites in Karo district. The community in the district of Karo, as well as from outside the area, are also able to engage in various activities. Mount Sinabung has provided fertility for Karo, and its presence really does bestow a blessing in terms of its production of vegetables and fruit that can satisfy the market demand across the island of Sumatra and even as far as Java. Mount Sinabung must be understood by all parts of the community, particularly in the district of Karo. The situation can change, and there are safe times and there are times of eruptions. When the eruption occurs, the entire community must respond to the situation. Avoiding the risks from the impacts of disasters requires good coordination and a spirit of mutual assistance. Public awareness must be raised about how activity or living in disaster-prone areas has consequences. Also, for the people who live in a safe area, a sense of solidarity must be fostered. Dissemination of the maps of the disaster-prone zones in various places makes it easier for the general public to know their area. Knowledge of these maps also reduces the panic that often occurs when there is an eruption. Information about eruptions sometimes comes through just one of the public media channels in an unbalanced way. This can result in making people panic. This sort of thing adversely affects the potential of the region. Namely, the number of tourists coming has fallen sharply. Mount Sinabung's eruptions provide valuable experience, such as people learning to understand the area in which they live. And the Center for Volcanology and Geological Hazard Mitigation, through their observer staff, try to provide knowledge to the people, especially those living in the affected areas. Religious institutions or organizations, in concrete terms, can also build solidarity. For example, by providing a disaster command post and facilities for the evacuees. Nature always gives signs. Animals sense them. The community around Mount Sinabung have also been shown the dangers of an eruption. They must make a constant effort to maintain their awareness for the purposes of safety.
Kami pengungsi ini dari semula, inilah yang paling gawat sekali gunungnya. Tapi kami syukurlah pada Tuhan yang Maha Kuasa.
Waktu itu hanya suara yang kami dengar, jadi kami sangat takut semuanya. Jadi di sini pun kami udah merasa tenang sedikit karena bagaimana suara yang kami lihat buktinya udah jelas dan awan panas dan awan semuanya udah kami lihat. Jadi udah kami ada kesadaran bahwa begitu rupanya gunungnya meletus.
Kami di pengungsian di sini senang-senang, kami tidak kekurangan apapun dan kami bernyanyi-nyanyi sepanjang hari, sepanjang malam. Kami bikin tikar lagi begini sambil nyanyi, sambil ketawa-ketawa, menghilangkan susah-susah kami itu semua. Kalau dipikir-pikir, situ kami diam, situ jatuh air mata kami nak. Tapi karena ini, karena baik semua, senang betul kami jadinya hilang susah itu. Begitulah cerita kami di sini.
Mount Sinabung has provided fertility for agriculture, which forms part of the local people's livelihoods. Other areas also enjoy the supply of crops from the farming done here. At the time of the eruption, of course, the people who lived in disaster-prone zones suffered many losses. These included damage to agricultural crops, damage to houses and public facilities, as well as reduced employment opportunities. However, out of all these losses suffered by the community, the one which needs to be avoided the most is the loss of life. The life experience of those coexisting with Mount Sinabung needs to be looked upon with a sense of gratitude so that life can be lived in harmony with nature.